Hey everyone! Are you struggling to make your website layout responsive? Don't worry. In this video, I'll show you how to create a fully responsive layout with just a few lines of CSS. We'll use CSS Grid, a powerful two-dimensional layout system that lets you arrange elements in rows and columns. Each section of the grid is made up of cells separated by grid lines. The vertical lines are called column lines, and the horizontal lines are called row lines. With CSS Grid, you can place items exactly where you want, even stack them on top of each other. Let's get started. Today, we're creating a responsive grid that wraps and resizes automatically. First, we define the grid on the grid container by applying a display grid. This tells the browser we want to use CSS Grid for layout. Next, we use the grid template columns property to decide how many columns our grid should have and how wide each column should be. Here, I define 3 columns, and each one is exactly 200 pixels wide. Now, we can use the grid template rows property to define how many rows our grid should have. For example, if I set it to 200 pixels 4 times, we get a layout with 3 columns and 4 rows. However, using fixed pixel values isn't ideal for responsive design. Instead, we can use fractions. A fraction unit automatically resizes to fill the available space, kind of like FlexGrow in a Flexbox layout. This gives us 3 equal columns, and each column grows or shrinks to fit the screen size. You can also mix pixels and fractions if you want one element to have a fixed size and others to be responsive. If I want to create a grid with 8 columns, I would need to write 8 values, 1 for each column. But typing the same value over and over can get annoying. That's where the repeat function comes in. It helps us shorten the code. We just provide 2 values. The first value is how many times we want to repeat. The second value is the size of each column. This gives me the same result with less code. But 8 columns might be too many, so let's try 4 columns instead. This looks better, but using fixed pixel values makes the grid less responsive. Instead of pixels, we can use fractions. Here we get 4 columns, and each one resizes to fit the available space. This makes your layout flexible and responsive with minimal code. We want our grid to change responsively, so instead of setting a fixed number of columns, we can use AutoFit. With AutoFit, the grid will automatically create as many columns as possible based on the screen size. For example, if each column is 200 pixels wide, the grid will add or remove columns as needed. The grid adjusts itself, making the layout fully responsive. But there's one small issue. When there isn't enough space for more columns, the items align to the left, leaving empty space on the right. To center the grid, we can use the Justify Content Center and Align Items Center. This will place the content right in the middle of the grid, both horizontally and vertically. But there's an even shorter way. Instead of writing both properties, you can use a Place Content Center. This centers the content in both directions with just 1 line of code. If your columns and rows are touching each other, you can add some space using a grid gap. If you use 1 value, it sets the same distance between both rows and columns. But if you use 2 values, the first value sets the gap between rows. The second value sets the gap between columns. You can also use gap instead of grid gap dash, both work the same. Now let's talk about column resizing. Imagine you have 3 columns, but there's not enough space for a 4th one. Even though only 3 columns fit, they might not use all the available space. To make the columns grow and fill the extra space, you can use fractions. Here, each column tries to grow equally, but if you only use fractions, sometimes you'll end up with just 1 big column because each column wants to take up all the space. To fix this, we can use the Minmax function. With Minmax, you set a minimum and maximum size for each column. The first value is the minimum width. The second value is the maximum width, which we set to 1 FR so the columns can grow. When combined with AutoFit, this creates as many columns as possible, each starting at 200 pixels but growing if there's extra space. For example, if the screen is wide, you might get 5 columns. On a smaller screen, you might only get 2 or 3 columns, but they'll automatically resize to fill the space. This makes your layout both responsive and flexible. No wasted space, and the grid adjusts perfectly to different screen sizes. In the grid template, let's say I have a grid with 6 rows and 6 columns, and all the cells are the same size. If I want to position an item, I can select it and use these properties. Grid row start, grid row end, grid column start, grid column end. Each property takes a line number as a value. For example, if I want item 1 to start at line 1 for both rows and columns, and end at line 3 for rows and line 5 for columns, the item will stretch across 2 rows and 4 columns. The other items will move automatically because we haven't defined their positions. Instead of writing these 4 properties, CSS gives us shorthand properties, grid row, grid column. Both take 2 values, separated by a slash. The first value is the starting line, and the second value is the ending line. This works great, but there's an even easier way, using the span keyword. Instead of setting start and end lines, you can tell the item to span a certain number of cells. For example, you can say, start where you are and stretch across 2 rows and 2 columns. And for the fastest method, you can use grid area. This lets you define everything with one property. It takes 4 values: row start, column start, row end, column end. For example, if I want item 3 to fill the remaining space, I can make it start at row 3, column 1, and end at row 7. Column 7. CSS Grid even supports negative numbers, so instead of counting lines, I can just use -1 to refer to the last line. Before CSS Grid, layering items on top of each other was difficult. For example, if I want item 2 to sit in the middle, touching both item 1 and item 3, I'd have to use absolute positioning and adjust the item's position. But with CSS Grid, it's much easier to position items exactly where you want. For this, I'll use the grid area property. I'll set row, start 2, column, start 4, row, end 4, column, end 6. This places item 2 exactly in the right spot. To make item 2 appear on top of the other items, all we need to do is add z-index 1. Now, item 2 is layered on top of item 1 and item 3. I will show you another way to position items in your CSS Grid without keeping track of line numbers. In my container, I'll add the grid template areas property. As the value, I'll write 3 sets of single quotes, stacked on top of each other, with a semicolon at the end. Since my grid has 3 rows and 2 columns, I'll define the areas like this. The first set of quotes will have a header. The second set will have the main aside. The third set will have footer. Each set of quotes represents a row, and each value inside represents a column. This way, we can visually map out our layout right in the CSS. Now, I just need to give each item a grid area property. Item 1 is the header. Item 2 is the main content. Item 3 is the aside section. Item 4 is the footer. With this setup, each item automatically occupies the section we assigned. By the way, this is just an example. On a real website, you might use multiple grids for different sections and components.